morning, good afternoon, and good evening, depending on where you are. I'm your host, Alexa, and I'm in charge of reseller communication here at GoDaddy. Thanks for joining us on the MoneyMaker webinar for reseller partners, where we cover product and marketing updates. We're actually trying something brand new today. We're going to cover a topic that seems like many of you are very interested in, as we had record high number of registrations for today. So that's super exciting. We decided to pull questions and requests from the reseller rodeo community because it seems like there's quite a few of them out there. So we want you to know that we do listen to the chatter that goes on amongst you guys, and we're open to resolving issues, making feature request lists, and just being a part of the community with you all. So we have a few reseller team members on the webinar today to help me answer all your questions. The first person is someone you may already be familiar with, our reseller product manager, Chelsea. She's been with the company for a very long time.
Yeah, I think it's 9 years or 10 years now or something.
Yeah,
so it's somewhere around there.
Getting your tenure. And then the other two people are typically more behind the scenes, although you may know them. We have Kurt, who runs our advanced reseller support. So some of our resellers that have been with us for a while might know Kurt. And then we have one more person who's joining us. He had a conflict for the first 30 minutes of this webinar, so he'll join us a little bit later, and that's Chris, and he's our reseller engineer manager. So Andy McElwain, who's the GoDaddy team member who runs the community, he made a post for all of you guys to comment with your questions and requests a couple weeks ago. And so we went through and pulled all of those questions, every single one, and we'll be covering them today. And at the end, we will do some live Q&A too. So if you have questions, please enter them in the Q&A section. I did open that up for you guys to be able to post in there. And then also a reminder that this webinar will be recorded and posted to our YouTube channel as well as the resource portal. So if you need a job, no worries. And one thing I want to mention just up front is that I saw a few requests for specific promotions and discounts and stuff like that. So I compiled all of those requests if you made one. And I'm actually going to be rolling out a brand new bunch of deals for the second quarter of this year. So I heard that you want promotions, so we're going to get started on those. And with that, we can hop into answering the rest of the questions. I don't have a screen share, obviously, today. I was going to share my screen, but I thought it might be better for you guys to see our faces and just to like have a discussion and everything. So it's a little bit more personal. So if you guys are ready to get started, Kurt and Chelsea, we can start going through the questions. And then again, for all of our attendees, if you have questions that you want answered, please post them in the Q&A and we can get to them once we're going through the first bunch of questions.
Sounds good.
Cool.
I'm set.
All right. So we had a few people I see that asked like a list of questions. So this first bunch of questions were asked by Nagma. Let me see if I can tell if they're on this webinar. I don't think I see them, but so we're going to address all of those questions first. First one is, when will e-commerce get integrated with Site Builder?
So we are actively working with that team. We are trying to get it pushed forward. They have been doing work on their end. I do not have a specific time frame outside of I have an expectation of very soon. We will let you know as soon as we know. We want to make sure that the product has your branding throughout. There's no mistakes. That everything works as great as possible. Everything is buttoned up for your customers. So there is some ambiguity on timing, but we will let you know as soon as we know. But when it'll be to give you an exact date.
Mm-hmm. And typically, if you are looking for an announcement like that, I always post them in the reseller, the RCC. Mm-hmm. And then also I will include them in a newsletter. So we send out newsletters at least once a quarter. So if you are looking for like product announcements or any like product updates or anything like that, they will be posted both in the RCC and then also in the newsletters. So make sure that if you aren't receiving the newsletters, call into care so that we can make sure that you are.
Mm-hmm.
All right, this one's pretty general. Any further customizations to the storefront?
So with this one, it because of its generalness, there are kind of follow-up questions with it. But so if the question was more surrounding being able to like modify the product pages or something, and that is not currently planned. With the WordPress plugin, you can do an export of the full catalog and have a WordPress theme that looks like our storefront. That you basically have a instant standard storefront in WordPress that you would be able to modify any way that you wanted to. That is what that plugin is for. If you're talking about like further customizations towards the maybe color palettes or something like that, I am always working on trying to make that better with the color palettes themselves. I want to make it where you can select your own primary color. Like the hex code value, like enter that in, and now that is like your primary color. Again, no timing on that. It is something that does require quite a bit of updates on the GoDaddy platform. Again, we'll announce as soon as that's available, but yeah, I hope I answered what that question was supposed to be getting at. It's a little bit ambiguous.
Yeah. And like I said, I don't see Nagma on the webinar, but if anyone has any follow-up questions to that, definitely put it in the Q&A. All right. So next one is, when will resellers be able to offer combo products like domain plus hosting plus email for one low price for first year, and then it gets renewed for regular individual product price? So that one's really specific.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, I know Alexa and I, we have had discussions about this very much because you brought this question up directly. So we've had discussions about this lately. It is not something that we have on our roadmap currently as building towards, but it's something that I'm sure Alexa's going to be doing some research on and figuring out like, all right, where do we want to put this priority wise? From a kind of different standpoint or different take on this question, I have made it a request and a priority with all the changes we're making on the back end of GoDaddy, that we're kind of doing a very large revamp there, that I want it to be where resellers can create their own bundles. And what you're talking about here is a soft bundle, that it's not a always tied together kind of thing, that each one renews individually with a different price and stuff. That is a request that I have in to make it where you can create your own. This one in particular, that was like the one piece that was left ambiguous, is do you want us to create these promotions for you that you can opt into, or do you want to create them yourself? So so answering kind of both sides of that. First is probably going to be our creating a bundle that you can opt into, or perhaps different bundles that you could opt into. But we need to figure out where we want to put that on our roadmap in our priority. But it is not currently planned.
Not currently planned, but being discussed. Like
yes.
Said, yeah. All right. Next one. When? Oh no, it's not a when. It's a will. Will we be able to resell digital marketing suite?
So with every product team that in this particular case, it was a acquisition that GoDaddy made. When we have a new team like that, I am reaching out to every single team at GoDaddy going, okay, what is coming, what's new, and making sure that they are doing it for reseller as well. When it comes to websites plus marketing and that kind of full suite, including that digital marketing suite, they are probably kind of last ones to kind of get on the reseller train with us. But just because a lot of our resellers, they don't sell a lot of that. So it becomes less of a priority for them. But I am working with teams always on pushing forward on building out that reseller product catalog to be super robust, have lots of different options. So I do not have timing, and I feel like I'm going to be repeating that so much. So I do not have timing, but I am actively working with all product teams to make sure that we have a robust product lineup.
Great, thanks. And one of the reasons why I mentioned, Chelsea, how long you've been with the company and been in the reseller space is so that you guys as resellers know that Chelsea has your guys' backs here over at GoDaddy. I mean, we all do, but she is definitely always keeping the best interest of the resellers in mind and understands what you guys need for your business and what products you might want. So yeah, that's one reason that I said that before. All right, so what is the future of Workspace email? Will it be replaced with professional email or with Microsoft 365 or anything other? I really like this question.
Yes. So Workspace is going to be end of life. That is a eventuality. With what GoDaddy is working on right now is migrating GoDaddy customers away from Workspace to Microsoft 365. That is their pathway for GoDaddy customers. Now, when it comes to reseller, obviously we do have Microsoft 365, but it has GoDaddy branding, and that doesn't work out for all resellers' business. So right now that we are kind of in discussions, but what it's looking like is if you are opted into Microsoft 365, we're looking at Workspace to Microsoft 365 the way GoDaddy's doing it. But we are also looking at professional email. The plan right now is to expand the number of markets that professional email is offered in. So it's a completely white label option. It does not have GoDaddy branding in it whatsoever for any of those of you that have not gone in it. So it will be a continued fully white label email product. We're going to get that out to more markets. And there is work to be done on the migration path, but we fully expect Workspace is going to be end of life. I wouldn't expect that migration path to professional email to be this year, because as you can imagine, it is quite the undertaking to move a lot of customers from our Workspace to Microsoft 365 at GoDaddy, that we're doing like another batch for the professional email, probably towards the end of the year, that you might be hearing more about it. But right now, you don't need to be concerned imminently.
Right, and then next one, similar to the answer from will we be able to resell Digital Marketing Suite? So this one is, are we getting this content creation services to resell? They are a top-notch service to sell for web developers like us. Also, the DIY SEO services we sell on Storefront is quite outdated and priced high.
So I actually fully agree that the content services, it is very attractive to a lot of our resellers. That is probably one that have been more aggressive about pursuing with these different teams, that I'm bothering them quite a bit, being as annoying as possible until I get what I want. is kind of what my mantra is there. But so I am working with them. I again don't have timing, but they are very aware that I want that product, and I want it available for you guys. So yeah, that's the kind of long and short of it. For the do-it-yourself SEO services, I will take that back to our business partner and see if we can take a look at that pricing. Maybe see if we can get that repriced. If it, after doing more market research and stuff, if it is overpriced, that maybe we'll be able to bring that down for you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was definitely going to say we can dig into that, check the pricing, and then reevaluate.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Next question. There was feedback about removing minimum retail price in RCC so that a reseller can sell at a much lower rate. What happened with that feedback, and will it be implemented?
So this one gets a bit convoluted. So overall, I have a lot of pricing tools that I want to provide our partners here. And one of those is very much, I want it to be up to you, how you want to run your business. If you want to sell at our base buy rate and not make any commission, I think that should be your choice. Eventually, I'd even like it where you can sell it below base buy rate, and that you have like an account funded with us that then our base buy rate is fulfilled by your account funds. And so there's a lot of tools that I want to be able to provide. Doing those kinds of tools, it requires a lot of changes on GoDaddy's platform, on like our back end, on how we do our e-commerce processing. So there's a lot of work involved. I am hoping that we are getting a pricing revamp this year, and hopefully even sooner than, when I say this year, that kind of sounds like it could be December. I'm hoping that much sooner than that, but it is going to be iterative. I do want to get rid of that minimum. It is a goal of mine, but I don't want to say for certain it will be there. It really depends on a few developments in GoDaddy's backend, if I'm able to do that off the bat, or if it might be in later iterations. But that feedback was very much taken to heart. I want to let you run your business the way that you want to. And we are all marching towards that goal. It's just a lot of work that needs to be done in order to provide that kind of flexibility.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Next one is, there were talks about cart improvements, basically a full rewrite, which would enable more neat stuff, also a better API functionality, like adding more products with one call, etc., fixing the iOS/Safari third-party cookie issues. What is the status on that?
For each of those, they probably have a different status, but we're working through them as we can. The full cart rewrite, the cart team is rolling out changes. They are doing kind of final tests as we speak. As that new cart experience is being developed, there's more functionality coming out. So stay tuned, and we'll let you know as that team is delivering the changes.
All right, cool. Next one, can you lift the 15% restrictions on discount coupons?
So this requires a little bit of backstory, so I'm sorry. But the 15%, that requirement, that it can't be more than 15%, it's based on how our pricing team, there's a base buy rate, and at minimum, they set the minimum to be at least 15% above the base buy rate. And that's so you, as the reseller, you can be at minimum, you can still have a promotion, but it doesn't go below our wholesale rate, which means GoDaddy's losing money, and that we don't have any control over that if it goes through a reseller. So it kind of ties back to where I was saying I want to remove the minimums and stuff, where when we're there, you can decide if you want to go below that base buy rate, you can fund an account or something. It goes into that. But right now, if I were to remove that, or let's say make it that you could give up to 50% off. It means I would have to move up the minimums to be where you could take 50% off of that, and then it goes to base buy rate. And I don't think that that is actually what the intent is to be asked for here. Because otherwise there's going to be a lot of folks that are upset that their prices would have to move up by that much. So I think it's more asking for more flexibility on promotions. And that goes back to my earlier answer of there's a lot of tools coming. It's going to be iterative. Hold strong. We'll update you as soon as we have updates for you.
Okay. This one is actually an interesting ask. Is can you enable chat support for end customers?
So yes, this has been in lots of discussions. Kurt can attest to this as well. That we are slowly making progress. The latest has been that with the pandemic, there's a lot more things happening on chat, and we need more resources there before they can take on reseller customers. So, right now, that is what they are working on, is beefing up their resources, training people in and stuff. And I am continuing to push on it because it is very much desired to move away from having email support, that it's chat, it's live right away, that you're getting answers. And then also that email support kind of is kind of dying out as a support area for many companies. So yeah, we're working on it.
Okay, so there were a few questions regarding like backend analytics, Google Analytics, that sort of stuff. So I'm just going to read out the questions and then I will give a general answer for all of them. So there were 4 of them. I see. Can you trigger full commerce details for Google Analytics on confirmation page? Can you enable full Google Tag Manager tags on secure server pages, not just the Google Analytics identifier? Can you enable conversion tracking for Bing, Facebook, Unbounce, etc.? And then the last one was adding custom page. This one looks like more of a request. So a request to add a custom page after checkout to enable third-party analytics tracking beyond Google Analytics. So we did write these down. It's something that we would need to look into. But
I can add a little bit to that if you want.
Yeah. Sure.
So one of the things, or a few of the questions, is about right after purchase, being able to communicate with Google Analytics that like the purchase came through, and a lot of like talking about that confirmation page. The confirmation page is used less and less by product teams, because when somebody's buying, let's say, Manage WordPress, it makes sense, instead of making them go to a confirmation page and then navigate themselves to the My Products page to then go to Manage WordPress to then launch, that we just go, all right, you bought this, you probably want to use it. It's a decent assumption. And we bring them right to Manage WordPress. And there's no confirmation page afterwards, it just is the email, the order confirmation email that's triggered. So some of those, we are losing the area that there would be that confirmation page, that we would have that tag on there. So that's where Lex is saying it's going to require a bit of research on our end of how are we going to implement without having a page that every customer is brought to after they've purchased, because sometimes it goes to different products. How do we implement this in a smart and consistent way that can be relied on?
Yeah. Okay. Thanks for adding that. That's better than my answer was going to be. All right. Moving on to the next one. And I promise you guys will hear from Kurt. We have at least one question. Well, he's also here to help answer
I was just gonna say it's more likely that as we go through these, some operational questions get brought up. That's where he's going to be our hero. Otherwise, you're going to have to deal with a lot of me,
which is not a bad thing. All right, so moving on to the next one. Can you enable custom HTML on confirmation page?
So this is a bit going to my previous answer on that confirmation page, that a lot of why I've heard of enabling that custom HTML was to put on like tracking codes and stuff. That confirmation page is used less and less. I can work with that team on seeing if they would be open to considering this again. But if that was the intent, do keep in mind, like I said, that a lot of products are moving away from having a confirmation page at all. That you buy a product, they bring you to the product rather than a confirmation page.
Mm-hmm. All right, next one. Any plans for official reseller tiers with benefits by tier?
Yes, there's lots of conversations about this. A lot of them are in conjunction with our partner experience and the enhancements that are coming down the line for all of our partners. And when I say partners, reseller is included in partners, of course. They're kind of the main cohort there. But yeah, so it is very much discussions that our current basic and pro reseller plans, yes, they are slightly different, but they aren't that different from one another. We want to beef up what benefits you get and what you get for free. So yes, there's absolutely a lot of discussions happening about that.
Mm-hmm. And beef up the benefits, but also allow the reseller program to match what you need for your business.
Yes.
So, I know that there's a lot of web developers and web designers that are resellers, but we also have managed service providers and VARs and IT service providers. And so those businesses function very differently. So having different tiers that match your business is definitely something that we have been in discussion
Mm-hmm.
of. Absolutely. All right. Next one. Any plans for fixing the broken reports in the RCC?
Yes. So I also side note that the only reports that I am aware of is having issues is the renewal report, that the renewal price comes back as suggested rather than what you have put yourself as what your price is. Excuse me. Sorry. So that one, I'm hoping that it'll be part of the fix when we do our first iteration of changes for pricing. And then the other report that I know there's issues on is the marketing source code one. And that one, when we looked at how many people use it, it was like 2 visits a year. So it was really, really down there. And that was, going over from many years, because I believe it broke a few months ago. So that is years long that we know that marketing source code page was very, very rarely used. Now, if we are getting feedback that you would absolutely be using that, if that maybe our newer resellers would be going, oh, hey, that's how I can implement something, let us know. I am happy to prioritize that page getting fixed higher. Right now, it's we're looking at redoing our reporting pages. And that was actually one that I have on the docket of with the question, do we need it? So let me know if it is important. Let us know how you want us to keep it.
Yeah.
Just to add to that, I know we have the customer sales report also shows some wonky pricing around privacy being doubled. That's actually being worked on by the ecom team right now. So we're trying to get that fixed with that team.
So that is imminent.
Cool. All right. So Kurt, I see that you grabbed this one. So here's your moment to shine.
Jazz hands.
How can I see all domains under management broken out by TLD?
So this is kind of a generic question that I wasn't fully sure on what path we're trying to accomplish with this. But right now, if you go to the domain lookup report and just kind of search for it, it will pull up all of your domain names. You can then use that to export those and kind of see what domain names are available. And then Excel has a fun little function under, I believe, data that lets you split data up. So you can actually take like all your TLDs and just kind of split all of them up by a period, which then will give you all your .coms. So you can actually kind of sort by that way. However, if this is kind of more like trying to see how many of these domains we sold, you can also go to the product commissions report and actually kind of see how many .coms you've sold of each different variation of 1 year, 2 years, is it renewals or whatnot? So you can actually kind of sort that way as well. So I'm not sure what the end goal of this question was, but there are a few ways to actually kind of get that information out.
So I would second that. That I would love to understand what the end goal is on like how do you want to use that information? Because if that's something that it would be beneficial to a lot of our partners here to see number of domains sold of each different kind of TLD or something, we can create a report for that. But I would like to understand how it can be helped, or how it can help you. See if it's something common that everybody's wondering, or kind of what the end goal was. Great.
All right.
Looks like he actually just commented there. Looks like Carl just commented about it specifically. About the question.
End goal of domains by TLD is how many domains are registered under my reseller account by TLD.
So is that, Carl, is that just something that you feel like a measure of success for yourself? Or let's see where.
Yeah, he said this would help to see where we are adding domains versus losing domains over time.
Okay.
Yeah, it sounds like a measure of success.
Yeah, because then it does work to just do like the domain lookup empty, and then you just get a list of TLDs back that you can do an export that way. Okay. That's good. Thanks, Carl.
Next one. This one's pretty general. Is GoDaddy planning to grow investment into reseller program?
So this one I'm so excited about because it is something that I've been pushing on for quite a long time. So at the end of 2019, GoDaddy, obviously Aman joined as our CEO, and we had a very large reorg. Now, part of that reorg, which made me so excited, is we have an entire org dedicated to partners, which you guys, along with our website designers and developers that are in the GoDaddy Pro program. So it's the entire concentration is you guys. Now there's, I don't even know how many employees in that group, but it is a very large org, I will say. And that is a ton of people looking at your end customer's experience, your experience, how you run your business, what other integrations you would like to have, how we do pricing on our side, how incredibly hard that is to maintain, the different products that you can sell your customers, And so much. We have people looking at all aspects of our partner's business, which, I mean, I'm getting goosebumps rethinking about how big of a success it is. So it's very much for me that like victory lap of like, we did it, guys. For how long reseller has been like, oh my gosh, like, why is GoDaddy like not getting us our tools, or, you know, that we are upset about the lack of great interest and stuff. It's here. It's happening. So there is a new partner experience that only just recently launched. I am working very closely with that team. We are looking at bringing in current reseller, some current reseller functionality, but enhanced. And that is kind of the main thing all around, is it's what we have, but actually deliver on a lot of these tools in better ways that help fulfill business needs. So yeah, expect a lot of changes, a lot of investment is going into it. So yes, is the answer. Sorry, I get too excited about it overall. So.
And this is like the timeline that you're talking about is probably like a 5-year plan.
Well,
it's not like
if we're talking about 5-year plan, it's like we're going to have a full, robust partner platform that you can do whatever you want on. But I mean, the enhancements and stuff, we're working on them right now. What is happening in the RCC that you're going to be seeing coming out throughout the year, it's happening right now. And it's things that we are developing that are going to be continually watched and iterated on. It's happening right now. And like, yeah, looking at 5-year roadmap, it's a long process to make everything, all of our dreams come true. But to me, it was like the number one dream was get everybody on board with how amazing our partners are. And let's get them a lot of attention and figure out how do we really give our partners what they need to be successful, because our partners being successful means we're successful. So we made that first huge goal, and it's amazingly exciting for me. And I really hope that it's exciting for you guys too. To hear there's a full org dedicated to you guys right now. Like, holy buckets. Sorry, you got some Minnesotan in there. Holy buckets.
As you can tell, Chelsea is very customer obsessed, reseller obsessed, which is great. All right.
Before we do that, should we introduce Chris? Since Chris joined, do we want to?
Oh yeah. Hey, Chris.
Hi, everybody. Yeah, I can introduce myself really quick. Sorry to disrupt the flow that you all had going on, but I had some conflicts earlier, joined as soon as I could. But just to provide another brief introduction, my name is Chris Beresford. I am the engineering manager on Reseller. I took over this role in mid-November of 2020, so it's still a relatively new role, but I do have quite a bit of experience working on the Reseller platform as an engineer. So, I'm happy to be here to answer any of the more engineering specific questions that may come up with regards to reseller asks and things that have been going on from an engineering perspective. Anyway, thanks for being here today, and I'm really happy to make myself available to answer questions.
Cool. Carl said Chris is on mute. I was able to hear Chris. Yeah. Were you guys able to hear him?
Yeah, I was able to hear him as well.
Yep.
If anybody else started hearing Chris, then there. Okay.
Okay.
Looks like others heard him. So, Carl, there might be something wrong with the headset.
All right.
Chris, he had a Chris filter on there.
Anti-Chris filter. Okay, so moving on to the next question. Can you publish a rolling 1-year roadmap of new features? And Chelsea, I actually really like the answer that you wrote down.
Read it on, yes. So I will look into this. I'm going to be working with Lex on this because I think there's another question as well, somewhat related. that we'll work together and figuring out what we can do. What worries I have on it is like with the question on the online store is it is continuously changing as we are testing things out. Well, we might have had this goal of this date. Well, now it just moved to Thursday instead of Tuesday or something. And even looking at the full year, there are things that come up at GoDaddy that move things around. And of course, we would also have to be a little bit worried about our competition having insight on what we are working on, and insider trading is a thing. So we do need to be cognizant of those things. So Alexa and I will partner together and figure out how can we give you some insight on this and keeping you up to date without doing something illegal or something. I don't know.
Yeah. So the other question or request that came up was the one that was related. It was, we need an idea of development path for reseller program that GoDaddy team will be implementing in near and distant future. Which products are intended to launch, which ones are going away or end of lifing, and many other things. So just like Chelsea said, not only are there legality issues with spilling information too soon, I also do a very careful dance regarding product launch dates and releasing those dates, because I don't want to give you a date too soon that we cannot meet, or if we don't foresee some issues coming up in beta testing or something like that, and the date gets pushed out. I don't want to be under the gun for that. So there are some very important things that we tiptoe around for product launches and stuff like that. But Chelsea and I can brainstorm and come up with a better idea on how we can communicate things like that out to you.
Yeah, just to kind of clarify that, I think you guys have seen recently, Managed WordPress. We had some problems with that at launch, so that was pushed back. So that's kind of why we tiptoe around those things.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Because something always happens before the button's pushed.
All right. Next question. Why is professional email only available in India?
So that is a kind of a question for that product team, really. That was where they did their integration with professional email. It lined up with what GoDaddy needed and what our resellers needed, that we're getting feedback from resellers saying like our email options in that market needed to be a lot more flexible, a lot cheaper. And the professional email option is certainly a lot cheaper. So that's where we launched it to kind of test it out. As I said, regarding like the Workspace question about end of life, is there are plans on having that be rolled out to all markets. So folks that aren't in Microsoft 365, you'll be seeing it in all markets, that it will be available there eventually. But as to why it was what was needed for the business, and it lined up with what I was hearing from resellers, that they needed a cheaper option in India, so that was priority. Then as it kind of continues, we'll be adding more markets.
Cool. All right. For the sake of time, I think we should speed up a little bit. We only have 14 more minutes. So any
no.
Okay.
How's that for speeding up? No plans at this time.
Yeah, that's great. Okay. Any plans to publish more product details that are kept current? And so this is kind of tying back to the product launch. and releasing that sort of stuff. So information for all products is in the resource portal.
Alexa, we can't hear you. We can only hear like a plane or something.
Who's got a plane flying over them? Because it wasn't me.
Oh,
May have been me. I'll keep myself on mute.
It's like planes, trains, dogs. I don't know. That's the perils of working from home.
And Alexa, I'm not sure if that one is actually around product launches or if that was like maybe there isn't products in the hub.
Right, I jinxed us with the dog. Yeah, you're right. That isn't around product launches. So this is around product details. So all of the product details and product assets and everything are kept in the reseller resource portal, and we try and keep those current. Of course, sometimes there will be like a product update or something like that, and we haven't gone in and updated the assets, but typically we keep those up to date.
And let us know if you're seeing like something that's out of date, that we'll get somebody to go in and fix it. Sometimes product teams, they do a change without informing everybody. But so let us know what you're seeing there.
So I know some of those assets also the product team forgets to update. So they'll make a change and they'll forget to update their own documentation. So then we have to go hound them to see what's going on there. So I know there is a few of those already.
Definitely. All right. So this one's a request. Adding more fonts and color palettes to Storefront.
So I'll try to give a abbreviated answer. For the color palettes, I want to make it where you can choose your own primary color, and that is what is used. So I don't really have an interest in adding more color palettes. There isn't really a plan around that right now. I'm hoping to move towards you selecting your own primary color this year is about timing on it. And this morning I was actually even talking to devs about the font part. So it's we want to certainly provide you with more options, but there's no timing right now on them. But we are always looking at how do we get you what you need for your business.
All right. Next one, if the trial for the website builder will also be available to us, and if we could get something like a pre-populated cart feature that is related to what Nagma wrote about the bundles. So I think this is pertaining back to the promotional asks.
So
regarding
that trial on Website Builder, it is something that was done in our old e-commerce system, and I've said a few times that we're working on like big changes on GoDaddy's backend. This is one of the things that I have put in there that I want to be able to allow resellers to say, I want to do a free trial of this for this time period. That would be like making it your choice to do that kind of thing. It is not something that is going to happen while we have while we have the old e-commerce system in place. So I will say I don't expect this to happen this year. I don't have any specific timing, but that's just kind of me looking at that team. I don't see this being something that they're going to be able to fulfill this year. That we'll let you know as soon as we have an update to provide.
All right. And then as a reminder, I already mentioned this earlier, we have a ton of requests for specific promotions and that sort of stuff. So I'm not reading those out loud. I'm just kind of skipping over them as I'm looking through all of the questions. But just so you know, I did, we do have them in the backlog, and I'm looking at them for when I'm developing new promotions coming up in quarter 2. All right. So on the GoDaddy reseller portal, can a link be added to our reseller community for the rodeo too? And that's been done. I took care of that already. So if you go to the reseller portal, you'll see a link to the GoDaddy hosted community, and then also the rodeo community.
So with the next ones, Alexa, there's a few of them around the logo and navigation bar in the header. All of those are ones I will do research and I will figure out what needs to be done.
Okay, so those are all the questions asked by Dan.
A few of them. There is one about the currency that I would actually like to return a question here to resellers. So the question about the currency is that the currency selector being in the footer is being requested, like, let's make that a little bit easier for customers to find. But my kind of returning question that I'd like to know from resellers is, what if we tied when your customer selects a different market, that their currency automatically updates to be that of the market they just selected? With this, the thought, and this is what GoDaddy does, is that it just automatically updates with the market selection. The thought behind it is that then customers would recognize, hey, you can do different currencies. It doesn't just stay in one currency, and then that currency selector does still stay in the footer, but it goes with whatever is the popular currency with the market that they just selected. Like Mexico, Mexican pesos switches automatically. It goes to Canadian dollars if you select Canada, things like that. So is that preferred, or would you still want that currency selector to be up, or would you not want the currency to be tied to the market? If folks want to just post in a comment, but I'll look into the other items from that Dan had posted. Which
were a lot of them were regarding the logo and navigation bar, the header, and then help stuff like changing icons, the phone number to call into, and then it seemed like and if you are on a few of those, they seem more like more like bug issues, not a request for like new functionality. So those kinds of bug issues, I'll just sweep and comment. We will be looking into those and figuring out what we can get fixed. Which ones are actually different requests and whatever. But yeah, we will be looking into those. Mm-hmm. All right. So Carl asked if you can repeat the two options.
Yeah. So the two options being that we keep currency and market selection separate from one another, and we move the currency selector to a more prominent area on the standard storefront. Or the other option being the currency selector stays at the bottom of the page, but when they change the market, it automatically updates to the most common currency of that market that they just selected.
All right, so we just have a handful of questions more, so I think we're going to be able to get through all of the questions that were posted in the community. Not sure about the ones that are posted in the Q&A portion, so we can put them in like the comments of the YouTube posting. I'm thinking that might be a good option. So this one is for Chris. So there's 503 errors in API. It seems there's a lot of 503 internal server errors occurring when accessing the API. That could be impacting custom storefronts that utilize the API and possibly the WordPress plugin too. So go ahead. Oh, can more server resources be allocated to serving the API with less limiting set for requests, which is resulting in 429 errors?
Okay, yeah. So I hear a couple of different questions within that. So let me do my best to address both of them. Regarding the 503 errors that were occurring with the Storefront API, that was actually, to be completely honest, a direct result of some recent updates to dependent systems within our service. That Storefront API is actually called by a lot of teams internally as well for like reseller branding related data. Yeah, we had some internal abuse going on in there, which sort of overloaded those systems for a while as we were working to get that resolved. At this point, all of those results should be resolved, and you should no longer be seeing an uptick in 503 errors being served by that API. To mitigate the call volume, I think this goes into the second portion of the question. We actually implemented a temporary rate limiter that actually only counted subsequent unsuccessful calls towards a given IP address's rate limit. So this means that we're only returning the 429 errors if a certain caller had returned or called us with an error response in a short interval. If you are still experiencing 429s, we can certainly consider removing this rate limiter, as it was a temporary fix to kind of mitigate some issues our systems were seeing. And we have made those changes, by the way, at this point to make sure that we have adequate resources to serve all of our current traffic. And also we have the ability to automatically scale up to handle surge volume in the future. So to summarize all that, we should have our systems are much more back to a reliable state than they were, meaning that users of the plugin, everything should be reliable again. However, I will certainly look into getting that rate limiter, the rate limit increased so you don't see 429s anymore, or just removed altogether at this point.
Awesome. Thanks. All right, so we have 2 minutes and 2 questions left on the list. Can the team upload a generic favicon?
Yes, favicon. Right now, we can't.
Okay.
So, sorry, I interrupted. We'll look into it, is kind of the answer there. We don't have the ability right now.
And then the last one that was taken from the rodeo is, it would be terrific if the help pages used our custom domain instead of secureserver.net, like the legal agreements do. The same for the navigation links in the storefront for products like bulk registration and bulk transfer.
Oh, sorry.
So
yes. So it has been requested on the help team pages to use the custom domain. I don't have timing on it, but it is a request that they're aware of. For the bulk pages, as a surprise, I got notice just yesterday that that they have updated to create new bulk pages that we will be implementing on the storefront. It was literally yesterday evening that I received that update, so I do not have timing on that one either, but it's going to be changing soon. And then those bulk pages will be using our latest and should be the same as the other pages.
Cool. Did I just disappear for a second?
You did for a little bit. A little bit worried about you.
Oh, it's weird. I don't know what happened. All right, so we are at time, so I am gonna shut this thing down. But I do know that there are some questions in the Q&A, so I'm going to take a screenshot of them right now. Actually, I'm not sure if it saves afterwards. So let me just go through.
Sounds good.
I think I got them all. So I can post answers to the questions in the YouTube channel once I post this video. And then if there's any other questions, feel free to post again in the rodeo under the forum that Andy had started. And we can just answer questions in there. That's always an easy way to get us. So I want to thank all of our reseller team for joining the call today and being so transparent. I think this was really beneficial for everyone to hear, answers to all of the burning questions. So I hope you guys enjoyed it, and we'll see you on our next webinar next month.
Absolutely. Thank you.
All right. See ya.
Have a great day.